Hi, and welcome to this How Do I video on creating an invoice using the Lexmark invoice capture service for Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. The Lexmark invoice capture service for Microsoft Dynamics NAV is an OCR service that I will use in this demonstration to turn a PDF document, a PDF purchase invoice in this case, into an electronic document in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And I will do this in 5 different steps. First of all, I will set up the Lexmark invoice capture service. Then I will create an incoming document in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. I will send to and receive from the OCR service. I will correct the OCR data. And finally, I will automatically create an invoice. From PDF or image files that you receive from your trading partners, you can have the Lexmark invoice capture system generate electronic documents that can be converted to document records in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. For example, when you receive an invoice in PDF format from your vendor, you can send it to the OCR service from the incoming documents page. To demonstrate this, I will first set up the Lexmark invoice capture system. And I will do this by going to the OCR service setup page, where I will have to register as a ReadSoft online user. So you will first have to create a user account. I will also fill in a default OCR document template. And of course, before using the function, I will first test the connection. Let's have a look in the application. So here in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, I will use the search function to go to the setup page. And here in the setup page, you can see that you have to enter user information such as a username, a password and an authorization key. Now this is information that you will get from Lexmark once that you have created a user account. But it's only when you have a user account that you can use the function in NAV. Now you can use the set URLs to default function in order to set all the correct service URLs that you can see here. And we also need to specify a default OCR document template. So this is a template that the system will use in order to convert the PDF invoice to an XML invoice when it is received back from the OCR service. In my demonstration, I will use the British invoice with line items template. Once that all the information is entered, I will run the test connection function. And here you can see that my connection has succeeded. The last thing for me to do is enable the setup. In the following step, I will create an incoming document. And this is very easy. From the incoming documents page in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, I will use the create from file function to receive the PDF purchase invoice that I've received from my vendor, London Postmaster. If I now click on open, you will see that the system creates a new incoming document. Let me show you the invoice. Here you can see that we have received an invoice from London Postmaster for services that we have purchased. So the next step is sending the document to the OCR service and receive it back. So once that we have our incoming document in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, we can send it to the Lexmark ICS service from Microsoft Dynamics NAV itself or by email. Once that everything has been processed by the Lexmark ICS service, so once that everything has been captured, we can receive it back from the OCR server. So here you can see the incoming document that I've created in the previous step. And next what I will do is click here on Send to OCR service. Now we will have to wait for a couple of seconds and then we will get a message that sending was successful. So here you can see that the document has successfully been sent to the OCR service. Next, we have to wait for a couple of more moments before we can receive it back from the OCR service. So now you can see that the document was successfully received. Furthermore, you can see that we now also have an XML document of the purchase invoice. Once that the invoice has been received back from the OCR service, we might have to correct OCR data. Especially when you send an invoice from a vendor the first time to the service and you receive it back in an XML file, it might be possible that not all the information has been processed correctly. And that's why we can correct OCR data. We also call this train the OCR service. Let's have a look in the application. So here in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, you can see the incoming document in which I just received the information back from the Lexmark invoice capture service. The next thing that I can do is go to correct OCR data. Here at the right side you can see the information how it was processed by the service, and you can also see that this is non-editable. At the left side you can see that we have the occasion to change the information. Now, based on the PDF invoice that we have received from the vendor, we can now check if everything is correct. Is the vendor name correct? Is the VAT registration number correct? Is there an IBAN number, and so on. If necessary, you can add information. For example, in this case, I would like to add the document date and the due date. So by adding the information, I can then send it back to the OCR, which means that the next time the OCR service will take into account my corrected information. So if I would have updated, for example, the VAT number, the next time it would use the updated VAT number. The last step is the automatic invoice creation. Now, to create automatically an invoice, the system doesn't only need to have vendor information, but it also should know which account to use on the purchase line in this case. Now, that's something that can be done by using the map text to account function. So I can enter a mapping text, as you can see here, and then map to a specific GL account. However, you can also use the setup default accounts function. And if I click here, you will see that the purchases and payables setup will open. And in the data exchange fast step, I can specify a default debit account for non-item lines and the default credit account for non-item lines. So once that this setup has been done, I can now click here on the create document function. And as you will see now, purchase invoice 1005 has been created. So let's have a look. I can click on the link and the non-posted purchase invoice will open. And as you will see, an invoice has been created for London Postmaster with the specific vendor invoice number, and the system automatically uses the GL account 8,640 based on the document amount that has been invoiced by the vendor. In this How Do I video, I've showed following topics. First of all, I started with setting up the Lexmark invoice capture service for Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Then I've created an incoming document. I've sent the incoming document to the OCR service and after processing received it back. I've corrected the OCR data, so I've trained the OCR system. And finally, I automatically created a purchase invoice. So in this video, the topics covered showed you that we can very easily use invoice recognition using the Lexmark invoice capture service. We can also train the Lexmark invoice capture service to avoid errors in the future. And we can automatically create documents in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. More information on these interesting features you can find in the Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016 help and on the Microsoft Dynamics Learning Portal by following the link on this page. Thank you for following this How Do I video on Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. This video was brought to you in collaboration with Microsoft and the Training Center Plataan.